Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Monday the 27th of December 2021. Today in Millwall news, the everlasting question that is on everyone's lips and minds, hearts. Is this bloody game going to happen or not? And I think it's most likely will be. So you see, this is from Coventry City official club website, ccfc.co.uk, and they put out a match day guide for the game against Millwall. They did this in the afternoon at 3 o'clock. Now, why would they do that if there were positive tests of COVID? And why would they do that? Because surely the training happened in the morning. They would know about if there were any positive tests and things were bad. Surely they wouldn't do that. Or maybe the person putting up this, the website guide, didn't know anything about what's happening at the training ground. Maybe probably doesn't even know what's happening at Millwall's training ground, which is probably the reason why it will get postponed. If it does get postponed, is problems at Millwall. But you've got to think, if we had double-digit players with COVID positive tests, coming up to 3 weeks now, nearly, probably coming up to 3 weeks. You've got to think, like, they've got to be over it by now. 21 days. They surely must be over it by now. So, what do they say here? Well, they're just talking about what you need to get in, COVID passes. They think there's going to be 16,000. What you need to do, you need to wear face masks in the concourse unless you're eating, unless you're under 11. Yeah. And what this just reminded me of as well is, so a lot of fans were saying, why don't you make it pay on the gate? If you're asking people to buy tickets in advance at a game that might not even happen. Well, then one look at this website can tell you why that might be the case, is because why they might not do that, because you need to know anyway in advance, because you need to take a negative test, or you need to have already been vaccinated, which if you've already been vaccinated, then you can just turn up on a day and buy a ticket and get in. But if you haven't been vaccinated, you'll need to take the test, and it'll need to be negative, and I think that takes at least a fair few hours now, at least 4 hours or so. So there you go. But this was put up on Coventry City's official club website in the afternoon. So if you've got to think, it's likely to go ahead now. Probably at least 75% likely to go ahead, I would say. And that should be a good thing. So we got this today as well from news@den.co.uk, and it's Gary Rowett talking about replays and the lack of them. So FA Cup change rules out possibility of Crystal Palace Millwall tie at Selhurst Park. Boss's faults. Well, I think that's fantastic. Selhurst Park is an absolute fucking shithole. It's probably one of the worst stadiums. One of the worst stadiums in the country, you would say, especially for a team that's in the Premier League. I mean, come on, what's happening here? They're supposed to be building this new one in Purley Way. They got the crowd of the council backing them and all that stuff, but where is it? What's happening? Where is it? Nowhere to be seen. Apparently they have plans and all that, and they ain't doing anything about it. And it's a bit of a joke, to be honest with you. Millwall boss Gary Rowett understands the decision to scrap replays in the third and fourth rounds of the FA Cup, even though it takes away the possibility of a trip to Selhurst Park. The Lions are set to host South London rivals Crystal Palace at the Den on January the 8th. The football authorities in the UK are faced with a huge backlog of fixtures to fit into the 21-22 calendar after a raft of postponements caused by COVID-19. Yes, we have 2 already for ourselves. The Lions have already had league games against Preston North End and Swansea City called off, and there could be uncertainty around the Coventry fixtures scheduled for Wednesday. The 2022-23 season is set to start earlier to adjust to the winter break when the 22 World Cup takes place in Qatar next November and December. So extending this season would mean additional complications. The decision to ensure the 3rd and 4th rounds are decided on the day frees up more weekend dates for rescheduled league games. It's probably sensible because you look ahead to 2 or 3 months' time and you're going to need to free up as many fixture days as possible, Rowett said. You're already looking at some teams that are going to be 2 or 3 games behind when you get to the end of December. What you don't want is FA Cup replays within that. So I think it's sensible, though a bit unusual at the moment. Everyone just has to adjust. It's one thing you learn and what we're certainly having to do. I read one manager saying it looks almost like you can't pick your team until you get to the match day because you don't know who's going to be available. So we're all adjusting, and I think that's the governing bodies as well, because it looks pretty much like we're going to have a similar winter to previously. This time last year we had a couple of games called off and we were playing catch up. It looks like most teams are going to be in that similar position. Meanwhile, Jed Wallace could struggle to be fit for the Coventry game if it goes ahead. George Saville should be available. Rowett was speaking to News at them before it was confirmed the Swansea game was a postponement. So this whole interview was before, so probably from Christmas Eve or the day before, and they've saved it up just for this. Rowett was speaking to News at them before. Rowett said Jed is a doubt for Boxing Day and the 29th. Savage trained and would be as okay as it stands in a minute. That's where we are injury wise, but obviously COVID wise it's a completely different situation. So we've got very old quotes from before Christmas and telling us old information that might be out of date now. So, but yeah, we're probably gonna be without Jed Wallace for the Coventry game, and that is gonna be a disaster. Is it though? Well, maybe. So let's move on now to this. This is the festive loan roundup, and it's a bit short because only 2 players were involved in any football from Millwall players on loan. So Dan Moss and Junior Tenzia were the only Lions loanees in action on Boxing Day. Both suffered losses as 9-man Yeovil Town were defeated 3-0 at Torquay United, whilst Dover Reflect's miserable campaign continued with a 2-0 home reverse to Dagenham and Redbridge. Hayden Muller was an unused substitute as St Johnstone were beaten 3-1 at home by Celtic. Games involving Isaac Loffey, Alex Mitchell and Arthur Penny were all postponed due to COVID. The O's match against Newport County, originally scheduled for Wednesday the 29th of December, has also been postponed. Muller, meanwhile, now embarks on a winter break and will return to action in mid-January. Willie, but who for? For St Johnstone or for Millwall? Because if he's not playing at St Johnstone, then what's the fucking point of him being up there? Bring him back and have him involved in our team, or send him to someone else on loan where he will actually play. So you can see here upcoming fixtures as they're expected so far. They may be subject to cancellations, but I'm sure some of these games you may be able to get in without the COVID pass. Probably the Sutton game, I don't know what their capacity is, probably less than 4,000. Maidstone game, definitely. I think their capacity is like 2,000. Arthur Penny, the game on Boxing Day against Dulwich Hamlet was postponed. So there you go. There's the next games up for the Millwall loan players. Tyler Borey not on that list. Will he play for Hartlepool again? I don't know if their fixtures have been postponed. he might not play for them before his loan ends and he has to come back and fill in for Jed Wallace. So we will see. There you go. That is it for today's video. Thank you for watching and goodbye.